good morning, good afternoon, good evening, no matter where you're listening around the world. This is Sedona Talk Radio.
Hello and welcome to Intuitive Guidance with Lindsay Marino. This is a pre-recorded show, and I'm ecstatic to finally speak with Lilou Mace. She is internationally known as a motivator and a person that has been on YouTube for years now, and she has over 18 million hits on her YouTube videos and interviews with many, many amazing people. She's also the author of her her spiritual books, and I'm so excited to introduce Lilou Mace. Welcome, Lilou.
Hello.
Hi.
Very good, and
doing?
yourself?
Good. I'm so happy we could finally find a time to talk. I know your schedule is so busy right now.
Yeah. Well, like all of us, the only difference is that, yes, I'm traveling quite a lot to do those interviews, and so sometimes with the different time zones, it's a little bit harder to set up, but I'm very happy to be here.
Oh, great. So what have you been doing lately? You always have so many exciting interviews and meet so many amazing people.
I just came back from Switzerland, and as I was on my way to interview someone, I got stuck in the snow. There's been a lot of snow in this part of the world, and I was with my car rental on my way to interview someone, and I got stuck. So somebody helped me to get out, and it's part of life, you know how it is, and it's so much fun to have those experiences in all those different parts of the world with different weather conditions, and but in the end, the messages of the interviews are pretty much all the same, and it's happening. I think that the shift on people wanting to live fully their life is something, a more quality life. The shift is really happening all over the world.
I feel that too. I almost feel like the weather plays a major role in everyone kind of slowing down, because I know that sometimes when stuff happens and I think that I am slowing down, I'm really not, and the universe somehow brings something up to slow me down. So maybe the blizzard is doing that to a lot of people too.
Yeah, it was not like a blizzard, but I still get stuck, and I know now, and I really, I kind of, when things like that don't kind of go the way I thought they would, and I had several interviews lined up, and I just tried to not make judgment about the situation, because then I had to cancel other interviews after that, because I lost a lot of time. But then I thought, there's a good reason for anything. There's such a higher intelligence, and I'm just, and so I ended up only interviewing one person, and I think that because it was really that interview that was meant to be, and not the other ones on that day. So it's all good. It's all good. Whatever difficulties we're going through, I think there's a good reason for it, and if we just let go and just be with that experience of it, then we don't make ourselves wrong or other wrong, and then something else can happen that would be maybe even more magical for ourselves.
That would make sense. And I've been watching your videos for years, and I feel like you just build this connection with people that you're interviewing, and really genuinely you're interested in what they have to say. And I always wonder, what made you start with the interviews? What made you really get into all of this? Where something in the universe that some people don't get into.
The interviews itself and what I do in interviewing people, the inspiration was Oprah Winfrey. I moved to Chicago, and shortly after moving to Chicago, one of my friends, I had told him about my kind of dream to meet her. 2 days later, he bumps into her like randomly, but then we're invited at the show in the audience, and I see her, and I totally get the what she's up to, and beyond the form of it in its essence. And I'm like, this is what I want to do. I also want to interview people and help spread the information. And so when I do interview, I really listen to it from my heart, and I create this space, this in this listening and wanting to learn more about that person. Sometimes I'm not 100%, agreeing with that person, but it's more, to me, it's about understanding, like more about the energy and about the sharing of the moment, sharing that space, and some people, like I was doing a conference in Riyadh about my second book, the one I Had No Money and I Liked It, which was my experience 2 years ago.
I love that title.
And that was a tremendous experience where I really realized, my heart reopened and I started to really doing things even more unconditionally, and magical things that have happened. But in that conference where I was presenting that book and my stories and sharing more or less, what I've been going through, this man told me that he had seen most of the 1,800 or 2,000 videos I put online, and that he had chronic fatigue disease, and through all those interviews, just by kind of feeding himself from further, just not only the content of the interview and the information, which is very valuable, but the energy that was between my guest and I, that he could feel and just and he was able to come at the conference and just write such a beautiful letter, and he was so grateful because he really has healed from listening to this type of information. It has fed his soul, and when we do things like that, whatever we do in life, when we're able to really listen and be present and there, I think miracles happen. We don't know really what's in between the space, in that silence in between those words. So it's quite something that is way beyond us.
I totally agree, and I feel like just what you said, just you don't know what's in between, and just by you putting out those videos, the energy that goes out with them is amazing, and you might not hear about it right away, maybe a year from now or 2 years from now or whatever, but you've changed lives, and that, to feel that and to really feel like, wow, a couple of years ago, I was, maybe you were reading about other people, and now you are the inspiration. If people didn't know you, personally, I'm sure you've touched lives of friends and family, but you put yourself out there, and that's something it's an amazing platform to have, and I feel like that's something that you could, I'm sure you're going to be writing more books. Are you in the works of writing right now, or just kind of interviewing?
Yeah, I live now in France because I'm doing the Juicy Living Tour Europe. So last year, in 2011, I was going through the U.S. and Canada and Mexico for 12 months, and 2012, I did it through Europe, and I'm still doing it through Europe because I started in April, and I'll be going through. I've done 13 countries here, but I'm originally French, and so I chose to live in France because first of all, I met an amazing man, right? So he was living in France, and it's just been amazing what life has brought me. But now I live here. Mm-hmm. And I would travel from here to different countries. And what was your question? Sorry.
Oh, no, that's okay. No, I'm listening to your answer, and I forget what I just asked you, actually. Now
we're so in the present moment, I forgot.
I know.
But Europe, so I'm really traveling in Europe right now. Oh, yeah, you asked me about the book, if I had... So I'm writing. So both my second book, I Had No Money and I Liked It, has just been translated, and is people in France are loving it. It's called Je n'ai pas d'argent et ça me plaît, and it's been and people are just really loving it. I had just like 10 pages in 2 different national magazines about it in France, and for me to see this happening in France, people talking, opening up, living their spiritual self, wanting to just open their heart further it feels so good. It's just so good to see that in this country there's more intellectual, and to see that people are really liberating themselves is very rewarding for my soul. I mean, I know that's really part of what I was supposed to do. And so I'm going to write a third book about the universe. It's a little bit, it's on the same, of course, it's the same topic than before, but that one, my 2 books, I Lost My Job and I Liked It, and I Had No Money and I Liked It, were stories. I recorded it on my iPhone, and it was things I was recording as things were happening, and as I was applying all these universal laws and things I was learning and what I was attracting, etc. But this one is more structured. It's more like like a book that I'm writing afterhand, like really working with the universe, and co-creation and all of that.
Right. And you probably, with you saying, within the universe, you've probably experienced some miracles that maybe you didn't notice so much years before. I'm curious to know, when you were young, did you notice little things like little shifts happening, or was it more later when you started seeing Oprah in Chicago?
No, there's been, through life, I think there's many things that happen to us, and sometimes we need bigger events to really realize, but my dad, I have a materialist mom, but my dad is very much, was into energies and things like that. He would be more into reading the book rather than applying it in his own life, but anyway, that's another thing. But he would really tell me, though, when I was little about the flowers and the energy of the flowers, and so I kind of grew up with that bigger picture of life. But I really, but then my parents divorced when I was 12. I went through a lot of suffering, a personal suffering of being an only child and not really feeling understood and separated. So that's when I lived my own separation, and I think we all have more or less that experience in our life of separation, of being alone and of not wanting to reopen our heart. So that happened all the way until I was 32 or 33 when as I say in the second book, when my heart reopened, and I described the experience of it and how now I see abundance and I see, the love, and I want to experience love and every day. And I can be fully myself, and I heal all those different aspects of myself that are not that, and I welcome the joy, and I ask for it. So it's been a process, and along the way there's been so many miracles, and now I feel the more that we're into the space of the heart, the more miracles show up every day, like literally every day, because there's so many things that are just so beyond us. Of course, when you're present in the present moment, you realize, oh my God, this is just a miracle too by itself. Just connecting, like we're doing right now. I mean, that in itself is so wonderful for whoever is listening and for us.
And it is. And I wasn't going to bring this up, but since we're in the moment, I need to do it. When I first was sending a message to you to interview with me, I had my heart thinking and then my mind at the same time, like my heart feeling, I should say, and my mind thinking at the same time. So this is a new show. We've had, I've had Serena Dyer on the show, Anita Morjani so far, and one of my good friends, Jason Ciafalo, and someone that does, my friend Melissa, that does Reiki. But I kept thinking in my head, well, am I really going to get in touch with Lilou Mace? And I thought when you wrote back, is this really her? And I started to really feel, well, this is a mirror, because each time we tried to set up meeting time, it just, both of our schedules were so crazy. And I realized after that it was probably me projecting, well, maybe I don't deserve to have Lilou on the show because I'm just starting out. And then I started to think, well, that doesn't seem right. I need to feel with my heart and know confidently that this is going to happen, and now we're talking on the phone. So I just thought I'd share that with you, because sometimes the universe does bring things up to us where we go through moments in our head when not feeling with our heart, and it feels, it's a different feeling. And when you're out of that moment, you realize after looking back on it, wow, the universe really did show me a mirror of what I'm feeling inside. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. And you've asked for it, and you've been wanting that. And there is sometimes when we want beautiful and big things in our life, then there is the gap also we experience between where we're at and those beautiful things, so we're able to welcome them. So even for people listening that have been asking, and then they get different difficult experiences, and they're like, yeah, right, that doesn't work for me. Maybe it works for others, but not for me. Then, maybe that those incidents or those events are there to just kind of heal what there is to be healed, so that you can really welcome this beautiful thing in your life. So there is a process also, and the ups and the downs are normal.
Mhm. And I feel like one of the part of the things for manifestation is really fully putting your feelings into it and believing it true, and just completely putting your soul and kind of, surrendering to that. And I know a couple of weeks ago, Serena and I were talking about that, really setting the intention and kind of letting go and trusting the universe to kind of go with the flow of whatever comes. And the path of least resistance is the most important. I'm sure you found that. I was reading one of your, or listening to one of your videos about the moment that you met Oprah. And it was, I know you just said on our conversation, it was almost immediate that when you mentioned it to your friends and then all of a sudden you were at her show. Yeah. What was that feeling like to you? Was it surreal?
It was really amazing. I was in such a space of gratitude. That was in October 2006, by the way. And I was in such a space of gratitude that I wasn't in the show myself, right? I was watching the show, but just to meet her in person and to see her in action was, I was really in deep gratitude, and I couldn't say a word because at the end of her show, the cameras, she asked, "Where is Brian that I just met last night? And did you bring your friend Lilou?" And the camera just went on us, and then I just was in such a space, I couldn't even say a word. She invited us backstage. Even backstage, I couldn't even say more than thank you, because it was such a powerful thing happening. So it did change. It was one of those turning points, and it really helps to see a role model, and have a role model. But at the same time, I had to also at some point let go of that also, because I'm who I am, and I won't be her, and I have my own path, and as much as the role model is big, and is doing a lot of things, it still won't be you. So there's no need to hang on to that either. You have to let go also of that, even though if it helped you at a certain time of your life. It doesn't mean not watch or see, but just, not confuse the two of seeing something great in somebody and wanting to work with that person, or being or being acknowledged by that person. It doesn't need to happen for our fulfillment, or to fulfill our soul's plan.
And that makes complete sense. And I think everything becomes even more special, because even if you meet someone on the side of the road, and it's someone that's just, a normal average person that's on the side of the road, and they teach you an amazing lesson for that moment, that is something that could stick with you for a while, and then you meet more people along your journey. And I'm sure with you meeting so many people and interviewing, I'm sure it made everything stronger within yourself to make you who you are. And I'm curious to know, with your intuition, has that got strengthened just by opening up even more so with all these people that you've spoke with?
Yeah, my intuition, that's what I'm most grateful for, and I think the more we...
Hello? I think her line got cut off. As we're talking and waiting for Lilou to come back on, intuition is a very strong thing that we all have, but just tapping into that is something that we need to practice doing. So, Lilou, can you hear me? Hopefully she gets to come back on. Maybe her line is a little off, but hopefully she can come back and connect to us. But one way that we can tap into our intuition and really trust it is being in silence within ourselves. And some people think meditation, just to meditate, might be to sit in silence, but other people might not realize going for a swim in a pool is a form of meditation, or going on a bike ride, or laying at the beach. All these things are different things that you could do to really help improve your intuition and really trust yourself. And like Lilou said earlier, she mentioned that just by having different moments in her life where there may have been rough patches, she was able to kind of detach herself from other things and be in the moment by herself, and that could definitely increase help you tap into your intuition. One thing that helped me with my intuition was when I had someone close to me pass away, and I started going on walks, and I just paid attention to the simple things around me, like the trees or the sun and the birds and the flowers, and just taking in that moment. It really helped me kind of get centered. And I started really tuning into what my body was telling me, and then also what I was seeing from the universe. So I might look up and see, the trees swaying in the wind, but there was a message that came from the trees to me. Just kind of like a thought that came into my head where I need to relax and slowly sway with life instead of feeling like I need to push things. So that's the power of intuition, really kind of slowing down and tapping into what's supposed to be. Let's see if she can call back. I'm not sure if she can get through. Okay, we'll just wait. But hopefully, with you listening to Lilou speak about different topics and moments that even her, someone that's very big right now on the radio, she's also going through other moments. Lilou?
Yeah, sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay. I thought maybe there was a connection that got lost, but I'm glad you got through again.
Hey, we're miles and miles away, thousands of miles away, and it's amazing we're able already to connect through the phone. So sorry about this. I'm not sure what happened, but
don't worry. I was actually just talking about intuition and how you could really increase your intuition by, you might not be meditating in a way where you're sitting still and meditating, but maybe you're meditating by swimming and just observing that moment or looking at the trees. And these are all ways that you could kind of increase your intuition because everyone has it within them. But you were telling us about your intuition too. Since you've been interviewing all these people, you said your intuition has got stronger.
Yeah, it's got stronger. And I don't meditate or, take that, but I do set up intentions during the whole day, a different time of the day. I do participate in something I've co-founded called the 100-Day Challenge, and that really keeps me on track too, with setting intentions and then looking at what really happened during the day and over a course of 100 days. And I do actively, the thing with the intuition and for example, or using it when I'm interviewing, of course you can't have intuition and doubts. When we're in doubts or in fear, it's really taking over everything, and it's taking over the most delicious part of ourselves. And so it's a matter of just relaxing and going back into gratitude. When I'm interviewing somebody and I have a doubt as to what's going to be the next question or how is this going to turn out, I just go back into the gratitude of the moment. And then once I'm really there, then the question comes or the next thing comes. We have to remain in that space of gratitude. It's very important.
It is. It really is. And when you talked about gratitude, it reminds me of moments, in my life that I didn't really realize how grateful I was for gratitude, for things that I could be grateful for until after they've happened. And sometimes, that does happen to us where we're feeling grateful in the moment, and then later we find out, well, actually I'm grateful that did happen because if I didn't go down that path, I wouldn't have gotten this. Sort of like what you were saying earlier with those interviews you had set up, and then something didn't work out, and you ended up interviewing someone that was perfect to be interviewed by you in that moment.
Yeah, in that moment. And then there is also, because I'm sure the person I was supposed to interview after this person, when I was stuck in the snow, was amazing, I'm sure, because she had such a story. It's the story of this woman that lost her daughter at 10 years old and is able to now have conversation with her. And this little girl that she lost at 10 now is explaining to her how her soul, has chosen her and what she's gone through and now where she's at. So it's supposed, I read, the book, it's supposed to be really amazing. But I guess, there's also, we need to be ready to receive this type of information. And then I know that all the different interviews, there's a good reason why they show up at a certain time versus others. So whether I'm ready, people are ready, or if it's the good time, there's all this other intelligence, all those things that I just don't know how it works, and I love being in the not knowing too and accepting what's so, and it's really important.
It is.
It's really, really important.
What about the people that you've surrounded yourself with over the years? I know with energy something shifts. Have you been in contact with the same friends that you've been friends with since childhood, or has that changed since you've been on your journey?
It has slightly changed. I've seen last year, a few of my friends have changed, and there's some things, I think the more we give ourselves the love, the more than we want those. I've been really wanting to, especially 2013 and during 2013, wanting relationships that are equal is not even the word, but that are harmonious and where we're all giving as much, like really loving relationship and partnerships, and even people I work with. I just really want talented people that are giving too, because through all those interviews I post online, for free, and all those different things that are happening, I just really want to make sure, because I've been disappointed at times by people or friends, like everybody, and so I saw that I had to make the decision of who I wanted to say yes to, and so of course it goes through a certain cleanup or some things that we won't accept anymore, and that is also love. Love can't say no, and we have to I think to do those, or at least to feel really nurtured by our surroundings, even family members or our parents. We have to. I remember this moment with my dad a few months ago where I just said, sorry, but there's no way you should talk to me like that or have this type of, this is very selfish, and I'm not gonna accept that, whether you're my dad or not. And I had this conversation with him, and maybe that was confronting, but I just had to do it in that moment, and it was healing. I kind of stepped up and kind of broke that pattern, and I had to do it with several people. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, our relationship started again, but I started to see it on a different level, and I've expressed what I needed to express, also, and it was liberating. The soul needs to be liberated, and be just itself and free.
It reminds me of Anita Morjani when she talks about being your authentic self, and really, at first when you're afraid to speak up and say different things because you don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, or you want to be positive, but sometimes, like you said, it had to be said in that moment, and it felt liberating. And I think that's so important. That's a message that a lot of people, our listeners, need to hear. If at the moment you feel an uneasy feeling and you need to speak your mind, it's important to really put it out into the universe and set the boundaries of what you will accept into your life. So,
yeah, because then once we kind of clear also, and some of us have to forgive, some of us have to kind of stop some of those maybe toxic even relationships, or those relationships that are no longer nourishing us, our soul. But then there is also, because then once we do that, then there's space for the real ones to come. And sometimes, of course, it's part of also our own story to grow, and I know it can be confusing at times. Is it me that needs to grow, or do I need to get out of this relationship? I mean, why do I am stuck? But then what I've noticed is if it's really meant to be, then there is somebody, a friend or an advice or a teacher or a book that is going to come at the right time so that you stay in that relationship too and you grow. If it's really sincere, if it's supposed to be also, because also when we meet, our soulmates or really somebody exceptional in our lives, the real work starts, I feel, because we've been asking for this exceptional person to come, but what we don't get is that it's not because this amazing partner is going to come in our life that then things are going to be easy for us. It just means that the real work is going to start, and we're going to actually hang on to it and work on all those fears and all those different aspects. Because it's going to give us, there's enough love for us to go beyond those limiting beliefs about ourselves or the fear. So it's really, it's that's why it's so important to love who we are as we are, and even if sometimes we make the wrong decision or we have made wrong decisions in the past, we acknowledge that, we love that, we nurture ourselves, we move forward and accept who we are the way we are, because we're exactly how we're supposed to be. And there's no definition of perfect, just being ourselves and loving, and even if when we're not, we're accepting that too and moving forward and gently moving forward. Then our life is going to be more and more what it's supposed to be, or what it can be at its highest potential.
Right. And in what you said about just when you meet someone, your soulmate, you grow with them. You said you had a special person in your life now that you met. And the moment that you met him, did you feel something almost ignite where you wanted to make each other better people, where you'd really grow soul to soul within yourself, but at the same time there was a different shift that pushed you to the next level?
I couldn't feel that, but I certainly, it felt really like everything was in order, and just like there was a certain effortlessness about it, at least at first. And there was, it was really just, we were, like, there was something stronger than us in this. Like, it was really, it just was bigger than us,
Right.
And that will make it work out, like us coming together and meeting, and the timing felt really good, and there was so many signs.
Right, and I think a lot of people need to hear that, because I often get questioned and asked, well, how do you meet your soulmate, or what do you have to do? And really, you just need to be, and just be confident within yourself and what you're feeling. And it's funny how it comes up. It's effortless, and the energy just flows, and there's divine timing, and you're pulled in a direction where you don't really have an option. And it's pretty interesting how it happens.
Yeah, to me, I really had, when I was on the Juicy Living tour through the U.S., and I was at that time in New York on my 34th birthday in 2011, and I said, because I hadn't had any long-term relationships. I was I really wanted to attract my soulmate, and I was sad. I was feeling, kind of lonely for not sharing all this beauty, and then on that day or around those days, I just said to myself, it doesn't matter if I don't. I release that, because I'm so blessed to be doing work that I love and that is nurturing and helping, and I felt so much love for everything that I thought, it's such a blessing. So there was real gratitude there. And I said, if I don't have a baby, because that's also something for a woman to release. And I said, if I don't meet him or have that, it's okay. Like, I'm really fulfilled as it is right now. And I met him 2 weeks later in France. Just things really clicked, and it's wonderful. He's beyond what I could have expected. He's beyond.
Isn't that amazing?
My dream. He's non-spiritual though, but but it's exactly what I needed to attract.
Right.
It helped me to evolve, and in so many different ways. It's perfect. We're very complementary from each other, and at the same time very similar.
Yes. And I'm so happy you told us that story, because I feel like just hearing that, a lot of people are going to be healed by it, because the pressure is going to be released a little bit. The moment you put it into existence. The pressure. Yes, we don't need that. When there's pressure, there's resistance, and when there's resistance, the flow of energy is diverted. It goes a different direction. It's not what it's supposed to be. So I love that story. And I'm sure a lot of your fans wonder, what is one thing that you would want them to know? Because you do all these beautiful interviews, and if there was something you had to tell us that we didn't know about you, what would it be? Something interesting or you'd want us to know? I know that's a tough question to think about, but...
Well, the thing is that I really do feel that the people watching me online and that have read my books and what I call my co-creators, they know more about me than sometimes, well, at least at some point in my life, than the people around me. Because I really, especially in the books, I really open up big time. I open up about my ups and downs and the whole journey, and I'm really all about living an authentic path and saying what's there. And it takes a lot of courage. So I just want to tell them that I love you. I'm really grateful for the support and the love and that sharing those interviews as they have been doing through Facebook and all different ways have tremendously helped. And we have co-created that. Like, we've been able to heal. There's been 24 even million views now, and it's just like all these people have been affected by it, and it has saved lives, and all of that wouldn't have been possible by myself. I couldn't have done that. So it's a beautiful, like, global, international co-creation. And I just really want people to receive that.
Yes. And I think anyone that clicks on your video once, they would feel the energy. I can't, talk about that enough. You feel the energy right away. Even if it was something, spirituality wasn't an interest to you, if you clicked on a video of an interview you were doing, you automatically get sucked in. And that's the energy that you have about you, the way about you, and the connections that you build that keep that energy flowing how it has. Because that can't just happen to just anyone. You have to have the right intentions and really just your heart being in that moment and in that space.
Yeah, I think it really comes down to when we're doing what we're supposed to do, when we really love and enjoy unconditionally what we're supposed to do. When I found myself with no more money, I clearly saw that I was going to upload those videos. Even if I would become homeless at the time, I would still find a way to upload those videos. So it's such a strong, deep in my genes, root, everything. So whatever you want to call it, but it's really there. It's at the core. It's at the center. It's in my heart. And so when we do that, when a person that loves gardening gardens and really is able to live that joy and share that with other people, that affects others. Whatever we do, whether we cook or for mothers that are with their child, and it's just that heals. The love heals. The love is what heals. So if you do it with love, then you're affecting people around you and yourself, of course, and the world.
Right. Now, if we can fast forward to Lilou 5 years from now, what's your vision and what is your ideal situation? What would we see in 5 years?
I love those questions because I really, the thing is that, and I'm always asked that one, or 5 or 10 years, and I can't say because I've been so surprised many times. And all I really feel, and I love to create context and intentions. I can feel that just millions of people will watch it daily, and that it's going to bring so much joy and hope and help assist millions of people on the planet. I can really feel that, and I don't know how it's going to look like or how things are going to, what life is going to bring, so that is realized. And so I let really the universe, our life, to just choose for itself how this is going to happen. But I really do want to continue to travel. I've traveled through Europe. I want to go to Australia, to Asia. Those are really in South America, but it's continuing to record, continuing to interview, writing more books, and hopefully really not hopefully, because it's kind of really happening, producing shows for TV, and on those, like, having the whole team and producing to the next level, and reaching more people, and that kind of thing. So it can, and also in all languages. So I receive messages from, like, right now they're being subtitled in Korean, the videos. And
wow.
And we're creating the web TV in Italian and Spanish, and so it's, the idea has been there for a long time, but it comes when it comes. But the idea is to really have it in as many languages as possible. So one interview that I do then can be shared with everyone around the world in all languages. Because the language can be a barrier. I do most of my interviews still in English, and now I do more and more in French because I can't do that. But then the others needs to be subtitled, because why somebody in South Korea, can't see. So the interview with Wayne Dyer, the interview with Anita Moriani that I have done are now subtitled in Korean, and they're subtitled in Romanian and Hungarian and many other languages. But to reach those different pockets of the world where English is not their forte is really, to me, it's super inspiring.
It is. And the more people that can see the videos, the more people that will be touched and changed. And I keep thinking back about what you said about that man who spoke about your videos, and really, it really truly healed him. And that in itself, if you could heal one person, that's a life changer. But for you to heal as many people as you have is pretty amazing, and a pretty big purpose that you have and continue to do. I could totally see you on Oprah, the masterclass, with Oprah. And I know
that would be awesome.
I know we have to detach from the role models, where not just keep our limitations just there, but I really could see you being up there on the platform and talking with people, because you really have a lot of experience listening to people's stories. And I feel like the most important thing about interviewing is really just listening and taking in that moment.
Totally.
So
I would love that. It brings joy, and I know from manifesting, when we want to manifest too, and that's an important distinction, we have to feel the joy in our heart. When we want to bring something. So if the idea of something brings that kind of joy in your heart, then it can really manifest quickly. But you can also, if you want to bring something, you can also feel that joy and then bring that image of that something, and even pray. And miracles happen every day.
They do. They really do. So who's next on your list to interview, for all of your fans out there that are curious to know who's in the works?
There is. I don't have any names, because I'm right now in the middle of. I've just done a lot of interviews. I'm uploading them, but I'm more into. I'm going to go to Spain and to Italy, and there is so many information I received. I kind of put them in those little files and folders in my Gmail, and so every time things are opening up in a country, like for example right now Italy, then I go back into that and then reach people out, and then most of the time the miracles happen when I interview somebody there and I had such a good contact, and then that person connects me with another. So I really it's not so much at this stage, because it's true, I was blessed to interview amazing people. I know there's possibilities to interview a lot of amazing people, even famous people, but the main thing is that really whatever's needed comes through, and I'm able to be there and listen to it and then do it and do those interviews. So it's not so much about the person, it's about the message and the coherence with and the resonance it has for other people at that time.
Yeah.
So it's an adventure. It's stepping in the unknown. I do not know kind of thing. I just came back from Switzerland, so my next trip is in Lyon, which is in France, and I'll be doing some wonderful interviews there of some Canadians and Peruvians and a lot of people that are coming in that I haven't met yet. So, God knows what will happen there.
I love it. I love it. And I like how you have a broad range of topics, too, with people passing to the other side, and then other topics such as meditation and just different things that really helps us kind of connect in on
relationship.
All different levels. Right.
I just uploaded today the interview I did with Katie Henricks, which is the wife of Gay Henricks, and Gay went many times on the Oprah Winfrey Show, and his wife too. Sorry. And Katie, that video is about relationships. It's an amazing video. And I interviewed both of them. It was not planned when I went to Ojai, California, at the end of last year that I was going to interview Katie, but Gay always speaks in all the interviews I did with him about Katie. Katie is so wonderful and this, and we have such a relationship, and I wanted to interview her. And it just happened, and I just uploaded it online, and it's a wonderful video. It's a wonderful blessing to. So, yeah, I love interviews on nutrition, too, and on relationship, and on the law of attraction, or on neuroscience, and about the near-death experiences, about healing, about communication, about anything, because life is so broad. I don't want to really limit it.
Right. That's an important thing to really let people see, that to be open and to really experience the different things that come into your path. And they might spot it on, they might Google something else, and your YouTube video might pop up, and that leads them to something else that they might not have noticed before.
Yeah.
Which is pretty amazing, because that's usually when the good stuff happens, when you don't plan. Just like you said with the interviews, when these people, you didn't even expect for one of them to be interviewed, but it just happened that way.
Yeah, like Serena, when I interviewed Serena Dyer, after interviewing her, she sends me a text message 10 minutes later saying, my dad is asking if you want to interview him. Wayne Dyer, I interviewed him the very last day of being in Hawaii in 2011, and just after interviewing Serena, she just happens. I didn't want to ask her because I felt, this is what I was so fulfilled with the interview with her that I just left. Yeah. I didn't want to ask her for this connection, but it's her dad that actually said, Spirit called me to do this interview. He said, I don't really do interviews now anymore, but I just want to do it with you, this one. So we spoke about his healing work and his leukemia and John of God and so many other things.
I loved that interview. I watched that one. And it's funny because to the fans, they might have thought opposite, where you had Wayne Dyer plan to come on, and then Serena happened to be there. So that's a pretty amazing story for people to hear. I'm sure your fans would want to know all about that. And isn't that funny how his energy was pulled towards you, and he was told that he was supposed to interview with you? That's pretty powerful. Yeah, it worked
totally reversed. And then I interviewed 2 other of his kids, or 3 other, because he has 9, I think, or 8 or 9 kids. So I end up, then Sky was there, and his son was there. I mean, it's just like, then they all showed up, and I said, okay, it's the Dyers Day. Today I'm going to interview the whole family, then fine.
Oh, my gosh.
So here I go one after the next.
Wow.
In their apartments on the west coast of beautiful Maui Island.
Oh, I want to go to Hawaii so bad. It looked beautiful in the video, too.
Yeah,
I will be there soon.
Swimming with the dolphins there is a must.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, I can't wait. I'm so happy that I got to speak with you. And I know the fans are going to be so happy, too, because, we see you do all these interviews with other people, and just to hear you speak about yourself, I was always so interested, to hear more and see you and listen to you speak. So I hope that we get to meet one day. I know we're on the other side of the world, but hopefully we can, and we could talk more, and I think that would be great. And I want other people to, and I want some other listeners also to know where to go for your upcoming, events or or a YouTube channel. Your main website is it Lilou Mace?
Yeah, there's the Lilou Mace, LILOUMACE.com, or the JuicyLivingTour.com, and the YouTube channel is also youtube.com/Lilou Macé, LILOUMACE. And then I'm definitely planning to come back to the U.S. I mean, there's so much resource of information coming from there. It's really wild. I think Europe is catching up, kind of in the way, at least, of speaking about it and being free about speaking about all those topics. It's really happening all around the world. So I'm definitely back in the U.S. because there's some pioneers there that live in that country. So as much as we have a lot of beautiful history, you guys are really questioning yourself and moving forward, and it's really wonderful to be in connection with Americans. And I'm American and French, but from French parents, and it fills my every time I go back to the U.S. It's so juicy, it's so. It's so empowering and inspiring to be there. Things seem to be easier at times over there, but you can't compare because obviously it's very different from old Europe. But it's all good. It's really all good. I love traveling in between both. This way I get to have the best of both worlds.
Traveling is amazing. It definitely is. And I'm so grateful that you had the chance. I know you need rest because you've been traveling, and I'm sure you're going to be having lots of new interviews coming up. And I'm so grateful that I got to speak with you, and all of our listeners got to listen to you speak. So thank you so much for coming on the show, Lilou.
You're welcome, and thank you for having me and doing the work that you're doing and sharing this information. It's really, it's very precious. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And I hopefully we will speak again.
Yes.
Okay.
Much love.
Much love to you, too. Thank you, everyone that has been listening to the show. That was Lilou Mace with us, and I hope you go to check out her YouTube videos if you have not already, so you can really listen to the interviews she's done throughout the past few years, and check out her books also. She has a third one coming out, she said, so look on her website for the updates. And also continue to send me messages through lindsaymarino.com, and you can go to my Facebook groups, the Lindsay Marino fan page, and you may also go to Gratitude Equals Magnitude. And remember to always live the life that you want, and don't stop here. Continue to live the life that you should be living, and really grow, learn, and live in the moment. And I will talk to you next Monday. Thank you so much.